I'm very happy to be here. I'm very pleased that I follow the exposition of Professor Lucy, because what we are doing with Open Democracy is an example of what Lucy was saying, so about the digital age. So Open Democracy started, is a digital independent media that started in the turn of the century, in 2001, so it's 15 years old. This is a success story. At that time, when everybody was realizing that they could, by just connecting into the internet, set up their own device, their own media, their own platform to communicate and to write and to develop their cause, that was an explosion of content that was put into the World Wide Web. That has been a factor of change in how the knowledge is distributed and how information circulates. Establishing a media is something a bit more complicated. So we were submitted to a very Darwinistic environment. A lot of blogs started and died. A lot of initiatives were thriving because the business model of an independent digital media is not solved to the day. So this is one of the big efforts we've been doing with Open Democracy. So what we were trying to do with Open Democracy, we were trying to do a website, a platform that has this global outreach and a global view. This is complex because it is done, or this website is based, or the initiative is based in London. As you know, London, as other big cities, are the globalizers and the center. It's very difficult from the center to have a global view because you are not in the periphery, so it's very difficult to understand what is happening, especially when also you have the hegemony, the cultural hegemony, the hegemony of the technology, and the hegemony of the language. So the idea was to establish this global media and try to develop a number of voices. So one of the objectives of Open Democracy was to counter the corporate media. Corporate media have been in the business for for very long time. They have been going also through a lot of tension, a lot of problems because of the business model itself. So now it is not necessary to buy a newspaper. So this had a number of consequences. Among those, the concentration of the media in fewer hands, and also the going down of the quality of journalism in general. So one of the most important things about having a global media is to build prestige, to build seriousness, to be reliable. This is one very important thing, because on the internet you can find a lot, almost everything, good, bad, right, left, in, out, up, down. So it's immense, the quantity of information you can find. So the user, the reader, the citizen needs some guarantee that what he's reading is done professionally, is rigorous, is serious, is done with values. And this is where comes the idea of promoting democracy, because democracy is about values. It's not only about institutions, it's not only about elections, it's not only about participation, but basically it's about values, values of solidarity, values of openness, values of inclusiveness, values of diversity, values of pluralism. So this is one of the goals, and I think one of the keys of Open Democracy's success has been the fact that it has taken the values at the center of their operations. But to keep this media running, it is important to be independent. But how are you independent because this, at the end of the day, costs money, because quality is not for free. If you need good professionals, if you need good content, if you need to travel, if you are if you are in this ambition of being global, you have to include a wide number of people. You have to improve every day your platform. You have to, of course, then manage the whole thing. So this costs money. How then are we financed? I will show a side of how we are financed, but the other part of being independent is also about the plurality of voices you have, the plurality of people who are reading you, and which is the quality. So we are not a media that we ambition to reach everybody, in the sense that we are not a mass media. We try to promote these ideas through targeting a specific audience. This specific audience goes from academics, of course, but also journalists, also activists, also people from the NGOs, also grassroots activists, and people who are called influencers. Why is that? Because we are not following the news, we are not reacting to what is happening, but we are trying to accompany what is happening with quality of analysis, with quality of information, where people, when does not understand which is behind the whole news, then they can go to openDemocracy and find analysis, find views, find also surprises or angles of tackling the problem, which are not the mainstream, which are not the what you will find anywhere in the general media. So this is also another value of what we are doing. So as you see here, we have right now we have 5 sections, a part of openDemocracy, which is the central. We have openDemocracy UK. This, because it was founded in London, and in London and in England there has been a numerous debate, and now the debate is very hot, as you know, in England, about democracy, about Brexit, about what you do with the whole thing. We have a section on the ex-Soviet space, openDemocracy Russia. We are having difficulties for that, and we have to be honest on that. So in Russia we cannot go in, they don't let us work in Russia, so we have to work from Berlin, we have to work from Kiev, we have to work from Budapest, but not from Russia. So we have another section which is OD 50-50, which is gender issues. This is also very important, the plurality of identities and the consequences for democracy that this plurality of identities is there. And then we have another section which is called transformation, which is a very interesting section, which the motto is where love meets social science. So it's an approach different, no, it's not mainstream, it's something that I recommend you to see, where you will find approaches which are surprising, or something that you thought but you never dared to write. In this media you can do it. And we have another section which is our BIP. Our BIP is our BBC. This is also, again, even though openDemocracy tries to be global, the centrality of London also sucks some of the energy. And then we have this debate about BBC. The BBC, as you know, is a reference worldwide of independent and serious and good journalism, but it has gone through a number of problems now. The independence, it has been questioned, the attitude that they had in the Brexit and so on, the quality is going down, so it's a number. So as one of the ideas of openDemocracy is to enforce the capacity of the mainstream media of being rigorous and being serious and not playing with interests, this is important. So I arranged with the guys down there to change the screen with a digital sign like that. So it's also, so here we have the readership of our audience. So without, as we say, here, people who influence and change the world. So 40% of our readers consider themselves activists. This is very important. So the people who are engaged are activists, 25% in drafting policies or influencing policy making. This is important for us because it is very important that the ideas that they are around, the initiatives, the stories, the values that convey have an impact in policy making. If not, then we are less relevant. So, and also we have an impact with writers and journalists who are the ones who create also opinion. We influence those who read us. So 65% of open democracy helps shape their opinions. This is a responsibility as well. So when you are an editor of this kind of media, you have to take into account which is your readership and then try to offer your audience different ideas, contrasting views, and not following only one line. So the only line you follow, as I said at the beginning, are the values, but the opinions are open as far as they are rigorous, they are not they are not attacks ad personam, they are not hate discourse or hate speech or these kind of things that then we find. And 70% had recommended OD to friends and colleagues. This is how the network grows. This is how organically you find and you build this prestige that then you attract more voices, you attract more quality ideas, and then you grow from that side. So we will change the works. Yes. So finances is very important. As I was saying, independence of a media is very, very difficult, or how to deal with that. So we have a mixed policy of funding. Of course, grant funding, foundations that give us money is 32%. Large individual donations, which is a tradition which is more Anglo-Saxon than Latin or other places, or people who believe in these values and say, I think open democracy has to thrive, I think I have some spare money to put there, and then they pay every year, they put their money here instead of going skiing, or at the same time as they are skiing, they put some money to us, which is a good thing. Then we have reader donations, of course. No, you have in any article, whatever. If you like this article, please donate. So a number of people donate, and then we have a platform fee, which is becoming of our structure. The structure of open democracy is federal, so all these sections have been mentioned, and the Latin American section as well, so pay a fee, so they have independence editorially, but they also have independence financially. And they contribute to the back office, to the functioning of the headquarters, to the financial services, to the technological side, all this. Then we have a very small thing about the syndication, and then editorial partnerships, which are very important. So if a university is working with interesting research and they want to convey part of this research out of the ivory tower, out of their own clique of experts, and want to impact a wider audience, then they can come to us. Then we arrange how to set that, and then we go through that in exchange of some funding. So this is how you keep the independence of the media. This is hard work. This is the problem of editors. Editors in their job description, there is maybe 30–40% of their time is fundraising. Fundraising is tiring, is frustrating, it sometimes is a desperate bit, but it works, because if you have a product that it is of quality, then if you look around, then you will find at the end of or maybe at the end of the tunnel, you will find the light of the funder. And so far, we have been successful, even though in this Darwinist environment where everything is more and more difficult, because the concurrence is stronger, because there are many initiatives, because money is drying out also of philanthropy, also of corporations, or it's difficult to to stick them into something which is not that sexy in terms of technology, in terms of participation. So it has this classic or partly classic view of knowledge that is rigorous, serious, and reliable. But we think that values are like that. So if our motto is true, and the motto of open democracy is free thinking for the world, if people are to be free, they have the right to get free information. They have to get the right to have independent news agencies or news producers or analysts, that they are not paid, that they don't rely on corporate interests or ideological interests or other vested interests, but they rely on the values that convey the project. So Democracia Abierta, which is now the youngest section of open democracy, is also trying to develop this pensamiento libre para el mundo, and I must say it is a good success. It's a success story, because bringing the voices of the global south into the core, into the center, into the globalizers, into the guys who have the real power is important. And I must say also they appreciate that, because the people at the center, they are some of them, not many, but some, also still believe in the values of democracy, in the values of freedom, and in the values of people. So this is more or less what I wanted to tell you. Obrigado.